all carry a spark within us. We all feel urges and desires, yet we also hold the power to guide our thoughts. The mind can wander toward many places. Sometimes it drifts where we do not wish to go. Thoughts of sex can come unbidden. They can test our calm and patience. Stoic teachers knew this well. They taught that our duty is to observe our mind. We should not judge each thought. We should simply note it and let it pass. We can learn to stand firm. We can learn to focus on what matters most. We can learn to calm the storm within. This short lesson will shine light on why men often think of sex. It will offer simple Stoic tools and hope. It will show us how to balance nature with reason. It will help us feel more in control. Let us begin with a clear view. Testosterone drives male sexual desire. Testosterone is a key player. It is a hormone present in men. It plays a vital role in many bodily functions. One of its main roles is regulating sexual desire. Think of it as the fuel for the engine of attraction. When testosterone levels are higher, sexual thoughts and urges can be more intense. This is a biological reality. It's not a moral failing. It's simply how our bodies are designed. Understanding this biological basis can be freeing. It helps us avoid unnecessary shame. We don't choose to have these hormones. They are part of our natural makeup. Recognizing this doesn't mean we are slaves to our biology. It means we can approach ourselves with more understanding and less judgment. Just like understanding hunger helps us plan our meals, understanding testosterone helps us understand our desires. This understanding is the first step towards navigating them wisely. We can acknowledge the power of this biological drive, but we can also learn to direct our energy in meaningful ways. Stoicism teaches us that while we don't control our initial urges, we do control our responses to them. We can choose how we act on these feelings. We can choose where we focus our attention. This power of choice is where our freedom lies. Sex can feel like a physical craving. For many men, sexual desire isn't just a thought. It can feel like a tangible sensation. It can be a physical pull, almost like hunger or thirst. This feeling can be quite powerful. It can demand attention. It can be hard to ignore. This is because our bodies are wired for reproduction. This drive is essential for the continuation of our species. So this physical craving has a deep biological purpose. Recognizing this helps us normalize the experience. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's a natural part of our physical being. Just as we feel the urge to eat when we are hungry, we can feel the urge for sexual release. Stoicism reminds us that our bodies are complex systems. They have their own needs and signals. Acknowledging these signals is important. However, Stoicism also teaches us that we don't have to be controlled by every physical sensation. We can observe these feelings without being overwhelmed by them. We can choose how we respond. We can decide whether or not to act on every craving immediately. This pause, this moment of conscious choice, is where our strength lies. We can learn to manage these physical urges with wisdom and self-control. Sex links to energy and excitement. Sexual thoughts and anticipation can often be associated with feelings of energy and excitement. This is partly due to the release of certain chemicals in the brain. These chemicals create a sense of pleasure and invigoration. This connection between sex and positive feelings can make sexual thoughts quite appealing. They can offer a temporary boost of energy and a sense of aliveness. It's natural to be drawn to things that make us feel good. However, Stoicism encourages us to examine these feelings. Are they leading us towards a virtuous and fulfilling life, or are they a fleeting distraction? While the initial feeling of excitement might be pleasant, relying solely on this for energy can be problematic. True and lasting energy comes from within. It comes from living in accordance with our values. It comes from pursuing meaningful goals. Stoicism teaches us to find joy and vitality in virtue, in wisdom, in justice, and in courage. These sources of energy are sustainable and enriching. While the excitement of sexual thoughts might be a temporary spark, the fire of a well-lived life burns much brighter and longer. We can appreciate the natural connection between sex and energy without letting it become our sole source of motivation. It connects to feeling loved. For many men, sexual intimacy is deeply intertwined with feelings of love, connection, and acceptance. Physical closeness can create a powerful bond between partners. It can be a way of expressing affection and vulnerability. This association can make sexual thoughts feel linked to a fundamental human need, the need to be loved and belong. This desire for connection is natural and healthy. However, Stoicism cautions us against making external things the sole source of our happiness and sense of worth. While love and connection with others are valuable, our inner peace should not depend entirely on them. True love is freely given and received. It is not something to be demanded or manipulated through sexual acts. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate self-love and inner resilience. Our sense of worth should come from our own character and our commitment to virtue. When we rely solely on external validation, including sexual intimacy, for our feelings of love, we become vulnerable to disappointment. We give away our power. Stoicism teaches us to find our center within, to be secure in our own value, regardless of external circumstances. While sexual intimacy can be a beautiful expression of love, it should not be the only foundation of our sense of being loved. Release brings comfort and security. The act of sexual release can trigger the release of hormones that promote feelings of relaxation, comfort, and even a sense of security. This physiological response can create a powerful association between sexual activity and a reduction in stress or anxiety. In moments of tension or uncertainty, the thought of this release can become a tempting escape. It can offer a temporary feeling of peace and grounding. However, Stoicism encourages us to confront the root causes of our discomfort, rather than seeking temporary relief. While physical release can provide a momentary respite, it doesn't address underlying issues. True and lasting comfort comes from inner peace and resilience. It comes from developing the ability to navigate challenges with wisdom and courage. Stoicism teaches us to find security in our own character, in our ability to reason, and in our commitment to virtue. Relying on external things like sexual release for our sense of security makes us dependent and vulnerable. We give external factors power over our inner state. Stoicism empowers us to find our own inner sanctuary, a place of calm that is not dependent on external circumstances. We can acknowledge the temporary comfort that release might bring, but we should strive for a deeper, more enduring sense of security that comes from within. Visuals easily trigger thoughts. Our brains are wired to respond to visual information. For many men, visual cues, whether intentional or accidental, can easily trigger sexual thoughts and arousal. This is a natural response. Our senses play a significant role in shaping our thoughts and desires. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with visual stimuli. This can make it challenging to avoid triggers. However, Stoicism teaches us about the power of our attention. While we may not be able to control the external stimuli we encounter, we can control where we focus our minds. We can choose not to dwell on thoughts that do not serve us. We can practice redirecting our attention towards more virtuous and meaningful pursuits. This requires conscious effort and discipline. It's like training a muscle. The more we practice focusing our attention, the stronger our ability to do so becomes. Stoicism encourages us to be mindful of our surroundings and the information we consume. We can choose to limit our exposure to things that consistently lead us away from our values. We can cultivate inner focus and resilience so that external triggers have less power over our thoughts and actions. Thinking about sex is normal. It is important to understand that experiencing sexual thoughts is a normal part of being human, especially for men. These thoughts do not necessarily indicate a problem or a moral failing. They are a natural consequence of our biology and our experiences. Feeling shame or guilt about these thoughts can be counterproductive. It can lead to unnecessary distress and self-criticism. Stoicism encourages us to accept what is natural. Our bodies have certain drives and urges. Acknowledging these without judgment is a sign of self-acceptance. However, Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of reason and virtue. While having sexual thoughts is normal, constantly dwelling on them or letting them control our actions might not be. The key lies in finding a balance. We can accept the presence of these thoughts without allowing them to dominate our minds or dictate our behavior. Stoicism teaches us to observe our thoughts without getting carried away by them. We can acknowledge their presence and then consciously choose where to direct our focus. This acceptance, coupled with conscious choice, allows us to live in harmony with our nature without being enslaved by our impulses. Frequency varies among men. The frequency of sexual thoughts can vary significantly from one man to another. There is no single normal number. Factors such as age, hormone levels, individual experiences, and personal values can all play a role. Comparing ourselves to others in this regard can be misleading and can lead to unnecessary anxiety. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of understanding ourselves and our own nature. What is natural and healthy for one person may be different for another. Our focus should be on living in accordance with our own values and striving for virtue in our own lives. We should not be concerned with measuring ourselves against external standards or the experiences of others. True contentment comes from self-acceptance and from living a life guided by wisdom and integrity. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, judgments, and actions, rather than getting caught up in comparisons or trying to conform to some arbitrary notion of normal. Understanding our own individual experiences and striving for self-improvement is the path to a fulfilling life. Understanding why sexual thoughts arise is the first step towards navigating them with wisdom. Our biology, our physical sensations, our desires for connection, and the world around us all play a role. Stoicism offers a powerful framework for living well amidst these natural urges. It teaches us self-awareness, self-control, and the importance of focusing on what truly matters: virtue, reason, and inner peace. We can acknowledge our desires without being controlled by them. We can find freedom in our ability to choose our responses and direct our attention. This journey of self-mastery is not about suppressing our natural urges. It's about understanding them, accepting them, and then consciously choosing how we live in accordance with our values. This is the path to a more fulfilling and virtuous life.